The approach to Bangkok is novel and beautiful. The river is skirted on the two sides with forest trees, many of which are of a green so bright as to defy the powers of art to copy. Some are hung with magnificent and fragrant flowers. Upon others are suspended a variety of tropical fruits. At distances greater from one another are temples adjacent to the river, whose priestly occupants, always clad in yellow garments, their heads shaven bare, and holding a palm leaf fan between their faces, and the sun sit in listless and unconcerned vacancy, or affected meditation upon the rafts or railings which skirt the shore. The houses thicken as you proceed. The boats increase in number. The noise of human voices becomes louder, and one after another pyramidical temples, domes and palaces are seen towering above the gardens and forests. Both sides of the river, a line of floating bazaars crowded with men, women and children, and houses built on piles along the banks present all the objects of consumption and commerce. Meanwhile, multitudes of ambulatory boats are engaged in traffic with the various groups around. If it be morning, vast numbers of priests will be seen in their skiffs on the river, with their iron pot levying their contributions of food from the well-known devotees who never fail to provide a supply for them. Seldom is music wanting to add to the interest of the scene. The opulent Siamese have invariably bands of musicians in their service, the gongs of the Chinese, the sweet pipes of the Lao, the stringed and wind instruments of the native population seem never still. A great proportion of the houses float on large rafters, and are sometimes seen moving up and down the river, conveying all the belongings of a family to some newly selected locality. It is a curious sight to witness these locomotive abodes, sometimes consisting of many apartments loosened from the cables which have attached them to a particular spot, and going forth on their travels to fresh destinations. On the borders of the river, there are scarcely any but floating houses, which can at any time be detached and removed bodily and without any inconvenience at the will of the owner. There are a few houses in Bangkok built of stone and brick, but those of the middle classes are of wood, while the habitations of the poor are constructed of light bamboos and roofed with leaves of the atap palm. Fires are frequent, and from the combustible character of the erections, hundreds of habitations are often destroyed. But in a few days the mischief is generally repaired, for on such occasions friends and neighbours lend a willing hand. A house generally consists of two divisions, one occupied by the males, the other by the females. The piles on which they are built are sunk 3 or 4 feet into the ground, and the floor is raised 6 or 8 feet from its surface, and is reached by a rude ladder, which, if the front of the house be towards the river, is made accessible at low tide. Of the floating houses, some are of boards, others of bamboo, or either wicker work or palm leaves. When used for shops or warehouses, the whole frontage is removed and the contents exposed for inspection to the boats which pass by on the river. The existence of the people of Bangkok may be called amphibious. The children pass much of their time in the water paddling and diving and swimming as if it were their native element. Boats often run against one another, and those within them are submerged in the water, but it seldom happens that any life is lost or mischief done to the persons whose boats are run down. I have again and again seen boats bottom upward, whose owners have floated them to the shore or otherwise repaired the damage done as speedily as possible. The constant occurrence of petty disasters seems to reconcile everybody to their consequences. Generally speaking, the boats are paddled about with consummate dexterity, the practice being acquired from the earliest trainings of childhood. The noises of different animals frequently interrupt one's rest. There is a bird which the Siamese call iron beater, whose cry is like a rapid succession of blows upon the anvil. There are the lugubrious cries of crows and ravens. There are many-voiced owls. There is the gucko lizard crawling about your chamber and over your bed, loudly crying a dozen times in succession. Not to speak of the buzz of flies and the trumpeting of mosquitoes. Everything is full of active, noisy vitality.